Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squad for boxing news and views from around the internet. The Matchroom promoter Eddie Hearn has confirmed that heavyweights Derek Chisora and Joseph Parker will square off in October on a card that is headlined by Regis Prograis and Josh Taylor. That Prograis and Taylor fight is part of the World Boxing Super Series. It's the final of the Super Lightweight Championship. So Parker and Chisora will be the chief support to that fight. And you might notice here on the poster it says 28th of October. I'm presuming that is a mistake, and even in the message from Eddie Hearn on Instagram it says October 28th, because that is a Monday. I'm pretty sure it's October the 26th, and on Twitter, Eddie Hearn has said October the 26th, so you can sort of put that to a side. And I was wondering why it was announced now, because this was announced on the night that the Vasyl Lomachenko and Luke Campbell fight was, but perhaps it was influenced by VADA. VADA had actually put out a tweet confirming that Joseph Parker and Derek Chisora were fighting. This was ahead of Eddie Hearn's announcement on social media. It says, at VADA Testing welcomes Joseph Parker and Derek Chisora as they prepare for their October 26, 2019 bout. And VADA actually has a history of doing this. They put out information on social media of fights that are yet to be announced. So perhaps Matchroom felt that given that was now out there and starting to be reported by media and such, that it was get the poster out there, but they've come up with an error on the poster, which actually you don't see too often. But putting that aside, I think this is a good announcement, another good heavyweight fight for heavyweight fans to look forward to. It is one of the better heavyweight fights that we've got left in 2019 that we know is actually on the schedule as of now. We have Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz having their high-profile rematch, an expected rematch with Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz, not announced yet, and Alexander Usyk will have his heavyweight debut in October. So apart from that, not too many other big fights that are on the horizon at the moment. So this is another good addition for fans to look forward to, build towards, because there's some intrigue here. And just going back to the VADA testing, this was a condition that Joseph Parker's former promoter, who's now Parker's sort of manager and advisor, David Higgins, had been pushing for. He said they'd agreed to the contract, but they needed two stipulations. That one of them being that the fight between Parker and Chisora would be no lower than sort of chief support on that bill on the card it was going to be on, but also that there would be VADA testing. And that was just a few days ago that Higgins said, look, if you don't agree to this, we're pulling out. We have to have this in there. So this will be more extensive drug testing than otherwise would have been the case for this fight. There was always going to be drug testing. This is just paying for more of it. So this will be on top of whatever happens in terms of pre-fight drug testing. Derek Chisora is part of the Anytime Anywhere with UCAD, etc. There would have been testing in the lead up and after the fight for it. So I guess from Parker's point of view, in terms of wanting a bit of peace of mind and having more extensive testing in place, he's got his wish, and they will have this extra testing. The question is, who pays for that? Probably ultimately comes out of the fighters' purses, but I guess this is something that Higgins and Parker wanted of Derek Chisora. But getting back to the matchup in general, I like it. This is a good fight. Both guys are looking, they're at different stages of their career. Derek Chisora, coming off a decent win over Artis Bilka, wrecked him in a couple of rounds. He is trying to build back to a much bigger fight, bigger than Joseph Parker, who's a top 10 fighter at the moment. He wants to try get back to the mountaintop and have a title shot, or at least another big money payday. Joseph Parker, meanwhile, he had 2 losses in 2018 to Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte. Since then, a couple of lower level sort of tune-up fights, confidence builder against Alexander Flores in December 2018, a June fight against Alex Leapai. Really, that was a fight just to blow a bit of ring rust away, and Parker needs to sort of step up through another level before he's really back at the top of the division. And Derek Chisora offers him that chance. Chisora has come up short multiple times at world level. For me, he's a guy that's sort of on the bubble of the top 20, sort of somewhere just inside it. He's a very hard man. He's a hard guy to beat. You really have to work for the win. He will put it on you, and he's not going to make it easy. But one of these guys that is highly beatable. And I think Parker, in terms of his style, is probably all wrong for Derek Chisora. If Joseph Parker can mimic some of what Ajit Kabayel did a couple of years ago, and this is when Kabayel was considered a sort of prospect / fringe contender, he made Derek Chisora look bang average in that one, giving him movement, not making it easy for Chisora to catch up with him. Chisora will want this to be a fight where he's sort of up close with Joseph Parker, counter-punching, close quarters action. He won't mind laying on the ropes and working with Joseph Parker, but that's not the sort of fight I think Parker should be engaged in. And no doubt Derek Chisora, through this build-up, is going to be egging Joseph Parker on and saying, don't run, you want to have a fight, you say you want to knock me out, come and actually try to knock me out. He will try to bait him and egg him on to actually get him to fight his style of fight. And we saw against Dillian Whyte that Joseph Parker played right into Dillian Whyte's wheelhouse. He sort of fought Dillian Whyte's fight. There's not the only sort of fight that Dillian Whyte could win, but it was played into his hands the way Parker approached that. So I think if you can put aside the chat about knocking him out and getting drawn in by Derek Chisora, Joseph Parker, through his movement and his boxing skills, could easily canter to a points decision over Derek Chisora. I believe he can. Can he knock him out? Potentially. I think if he lands a couple of big shots later in the fight, Derek Chisora could go. But if Parker plays into Derek Chisora's hands, tries to sort of work on the inside, as we saw him trying to do against Alex Leapai, which I don't really think is his wheelhouse. He is more a guy that likes to work from mid-range and be the outboxer, circle, throw the jabs out, followed by right hands, circling the ring, that sort of thing. That sort of seems to be where he's had more success in his career, as opposed to being a guy that's getting up close in the pocket and banging it out with his opponent. That's not his strength. Using his speed, movement, and boxing skills is what Parker needs to do in this one. So it's an interesting fight for both these guys, and for the winner, a big fight awaits. I like this one. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.